Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to today's Live at the Waterhole show. Starting here at Elephant Pan with some departing elephants in the background there by the looks of it. But you are all very, very welcome. My name is Kelly and I am going to be here for the next couple of hours. We will be cruising and perusing all of these fabulous cameras to see what we can see. And I am delighted that you are all here to join us. Oh, that looks lovely and green up at Elephant Pan. See the grass covers coming through, and that looks like it might be Mopani. I could be wrong. Elephants do love a bit of Mopani, but we are delighted you are all here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for getting involved. Please do remember that we are live and very much interactive. Oh, there's a straggler. So please do get in touch with us either via WhatsApp, on X at Wild Earth, Facebook at Wild Earth Live, Instagram Wild Earth Official, or on our YouTube channel at Wild Earth. You are all very, very welcome. Please do jump into the conversation. This is a discussion and not a lecture. There will be no quickly leaning forward to sneak a look at my screen or quickly grab one of my books from over there today, because I threw my back out yesterday, so I'm going to be mostly stationary throughout this show. So anyone that is injured or stuck where they are, I do sympathise with you wholeheartedly. But what a joy that we can all be here together and still get to watch what is going on in all these different parts of Africa. Josh Drown. Good morning to you, Josh. You are watching from a very cold Michigan. I think it's amazing that everyone from all over the world can get involved in this discussion. It makes me smile. It makes me very, very happy that we can all connect. We can all connect over our joint love of nature and animals and all things conservation related, from the big to the small. Mr. HUAE, hello to you too. Happy Friday. It is, it's Friday, isn't it? Oh, we've hopped over to Serengeti Explorer. Is this where we've been seeing this? There's been a woodlands kingfisher, I think, that has been frequenting, I think it's this branch here. Is that him at the bottom? I think it is. Wow, I'm super proud of myself. He is there, but he's sitting on a different branch. He was just up there on the right of that dead stick there. I'm not sure what that is. I'm guessing that's possibly a light that's protected with a cage. I could be wrong. That would be my guess. But we've been seeing some awesome lizards here. We had some lovely Dufasa waterbuck yesterday. There he is, just on that dead tree there. Yes, this seems to be his preferred location. Although I'm sure he was up on the higher branch today, but these woodlands kingfishers are renowned for, they will often pick a branch, pick a stick. Oh, they're gorgeous birds. And that will be their preferred location. These kingfishers, bee eaters, often return to the same stick. It's a great way of trying bird photography. Not for me. I'm not a photographer in any way, shape or form. But people that are, if you've got the patience and the equipment, if you focus on a branch, it's a really good opportunity to get some lovely images of birds as they often return. Movie Dome, hello. You are Sano. Suanu. Apologies for my terrible pronunciation. From New York. Thank you for joining us all the way from New York. There we go. Perfect demonstration. What a good kingfisher you are. You proved my point beautifully. You're saying, wow, the view is wonderful. We do get some stunning views from these cameras. You never quite know what you're going to get. But isn't it, we occasionally have a little bit of a tech gremlin. But the fact that it's possible at all still absolutely flabbergasts me, that we can watch this woodlands kingfisher wherever you are in the world. He is way up here in the Serengeti, and we can all join teams and watch him poop. India, that is an excellent question. You're asking, how do birds like kingfishers know the right time to migrate? It's one of nature's, and there's so many, one of nature's incredible stories or incredible abilities. There's lots of ways, but mostly it's environmental, temperatures, resources. There will be key indicators in the environment, changes in temperatures or conditions in a location they are leaving. But it's absolutely incredible, and often they will do it almost like a couple of days either side of each other. I know people often run logs of when birds first appear or when they depart from wherever they're leaving from. It really is absolutely incredible how they know. It's like the salmon when they swim upstream to spawn. It's I was going to say sixth sense, but sixth sense, seventh sense, eighth sense. It's incredible, the perceptions and intuitions of nature. Recycled Teenager UK. You're saying, hi, sorry about your back, get well soon. Yeah, getting old sucks, hey? Thank you very much. I will be staying mostly still, which is, I can think of worse places to be staying still though. Watching these glorious images from around Africa, there are worse places to be stuck. But yeah, I've got absolutely no idea of the age demographic of people that join us for this show, but I have a feeling some of you watching may have had a bad back in the past. Getting old and creaky. And it's interesting actually. Animals obviously age. I'm just looking at this bird. I'm thinking, I wonder if they sort of get, their wings get a bit stiffer, or their little leggies get tired quicker from perching, or whatever it is. But I wonder if he's going to come back. But nature is amazing, that I'm sure us humans are often at fault for our ageing process. There he is, back on his normal perch. Let's head across to Victoria Falls. I think we might have some weavers. I've been enjoying lots of yellow weavers so far this year. They've all been very, very busy. I was at Lake Panic in the Kruger a few days ago. And they are so industrious. I could watch them all day long. These yellow weavers, you do have to look at them a little bit carefully to work out who is who. There's the village weavers, southern mast weavers, lesser mast weavers. But it's amazing how they work so hard to form these nests. All for the benefit of the ladies, all for reproductive purposes. And I've actually watched the process of when a female will come and have a little look at the nest building skills of these males and either go, oh, this is a nice one, I think I might stay put, or they just sort of go pep, 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 and they pull a couple of bits of grass out and they leave. It's quite upsetting that these males work so hard, often only to be rejected. Francois Stapleberg, you are so proud to be a South African and showing the whole world our wonderful country. I love your thinking, Francois. I'm also very proud to be here. Part of my joy is sharing this amazing country, and all of Africa is being able to share it with others and invite them into the wonderful world of nature and conservation. You're very proud to be South African, Francois Stapleberg, and so you should be. Lizu Isaac, thank you, Lizu. You're saying good morning. You're Lizu Isaac from Zambia, southern province in Chomitan. You always enjoy watching you guys. Right now you're watching us doing a good job. I'm glad you're enjoying watching wildlife. We will indeed keep it up wherever possible, Lizu. As long as tech gremlins are at bay, we will keep bringing you these shows and these images. It's great to be able to offer people the opportunity to see things that they might not otherwise be able to see. Give them a little introduction to the wonders that are out there. Joyce Brown, good morning to you, Joyce Brown. Thank you very much for being here. You're watching from a grey day in the Lake District. The blue skies look beautiful. They are stunning here, very different to what I imagine the Lake District will be today, Joyce Brown. And these birds are beautiful. The colours in lots of these weavers are absolutely joyous. So sorry you have grey skies there. If it makes you feel any better, it's actually a little bit overcast where I am currently sitting looking out the window. We are in our rainy season. So it's not always blue skies, Joyce, if that gives you some solace. Let's go across to Tembe. See if our elephants are still utilising those newly formed personal puddles. Ah, they're off over there today. Puddles are vacant currently. Beautiful greens and blues popping through these summer colours. Never fail to disappoint. Although I actually really enjoyed the winter this year. I was out on a drive somewhere, I can't remember where, and I think it was 4:10 one winter's afternoon, and the soft golden light of those winter hues just made all the dark browns and oranges and earth colours just pop. I enjoyed winter a lot this year. But now on to enjoying the summer. Mercedes Bean, you're saying in your area the big thing is when the swallows return to the mission at San Juan Capistrano in the spring. The mission even hosts a parade mini event for it. That is absolutely beautiful. We can quickly go to Serengeti. We will go and have a look at that kingfisher again. Apparently it's very nice over there. We are welcome to go there. Oh, look at this beautiful colours. You can actually, that's a nice view of that kingfish. You can see that you don't often get to see close up like that. There's actually sort of that pale powder puff blue on the back of his head there as well as those bright blue iridescent colours on the wings. Yeah, he's gone. He was nice and close to the camera there. Is he going to come back? Yay! Oh, what a good kingfisher. Mercedes Bean, sorry, we were interrupted by a kingfisher. That is beautiful. I really like that idea of hosting a party for when those swallows return. I think that's lovely, and their return should indeed be celebrated. It's a sign of life. It's a sign of resilience. It's a sign of I was going to say cyclicality then, but that's not a word. Cycles of nature. I think that's a lovely thing to do. I fully support that. Helga, you're saying your feathered friends teach us a lot of where and when and climate. They absolutely do. So much of nature is, you know, there's no clocks, there's no watches, there's no calendars, and often people living traditionally as well, they use cycles. They don't get a task reminder on their phone on the 10th of October that they should start planting things. It's all done on instinct, which is glorious and sadly being lost. Let's go back across to Tembe, but that was a lovely view of that kingfisher, trying out a different fishing perch there. We're seeing some lovely things on this Serengeti Explorer camera recently. Very, very nice. Mr. Elemental, yeah, I was also inside yesterday. I was just the whole Mamba thing was quite exciting, but to be honest, I couldn't concentrate properly. I wasn't watching the screen properly. I was watching the violet-backed starlings chasing the red-headed weavers and looking at the dacres and everything else in the garden, which is not what I'm here for. So it's also getting quite hot out there this time of year, and it can get a little bit sticky. There he is back up on his perch. It can get a little bit sticky outside, so yes, Mr. Elemental, I have indeed relocated to an indoor position. Lizu Isaac, you're asking, how do you manage poachers? That is a ginormous question, Lizu. I don't, and it varies wildly across the world. Poaching is a problem all over the world, not just in South Africa, not just in Africa. Obviously, the things that are being poached, though, basically poaching is the illegal taking of things, of wildlife, not to be confused with legal hunting. That's a discussion for another day, but there is a difference. And poaching can be anything from killing rhinos to take their horns, all the way through to taking of endangered cycads, abalone from the sea, anything that is not legal being removed from the environment. And there's various ways of managing it. At least having a nice dust bath. Probably the most obvious way is patrols, so anti-poaching patrols, so having people present to catch or prevent or deter the crime from happening in the first place. Boots on the ground, as they say, having a presence. There are fences, there are security controls. Most of the reserves, most reserves have sort of a very strict entry procedure, right from the Kruger Park, where you have to give your registration and vehicles are recorded. Controlling of movement, so even the private reserves, everything is recorded on the way in, right through to delivery drivers. Many reserves, vehicles are not allowed to be mobile after a certain time at night. Sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 10. Which helps law enforcement people to know that if there's a vehicle, then they shouldn't be there. There are patrols, there's people that sit in the bush and watch, observation posts, there are tracking dogs. That's sort of one arm of managing poaching. And the other arm, in my opinion, is education. Education around how important nature is to preserve. Education from a perspective of if people are educated and understand how important nature is, but also from the perspective of if people are educated, they may be able to find jobs. If they're in secure jobs, they may not need to do illegal things like poaching, because they will have a steady form of reliable legal income. So there are lots, it's a huge discussion. Don't chase it, Impala, leave him. It's a huge topic. It's a very complex topic. It can be quite a sensitive topic. But yeah, there are lots of ways. Great question though. That recycled teenager. You're asking, are bee-eaters related to sand martins, as their habitats are very similar? Taxonomically, off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't think so. I think they'll be in bird. I'm rubbish at bird families. Taxonomy is moving all the time. I actually read out a list of other bird things that are changing yesterday. I think that's come from a very reliable resource. Oh, this elephant's got a flop ear there. Now, I'll
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
Do you want to know why impala are the most common antelope we find here in the Kruger National Park? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live. Connect with nature.
The bush, full of beauty, wonder, and absolute chaos. And now, all that madness has its own show. It's called a Wild Bush Week. The countdown of the most outrageous, heart-stopping, and sometimes downright ridiculous wildlife moments of the week. Lions throwing their weight around. Hyenas gate-crashing the buffet. Leopards doing, well, leopardy things. Each week, it's a fresh reel of safari gold, a mix of drama,
She's just got an impala, everybody.
danger, and a healthy dose of laughter. So, if you fancy a highlight show with bite, and I don't mean just the animals, tune in to a Wild Bush Week. You bring the tea, and we'll bring the tusks, tails, and teeth.
Anyone certainly that does the show, or even, works in this industry, it's not really something you can, if you're working in another area, you sort of do the job to, get a salary, but it's a passion. I don't think it's possible to fake enjoying nature. I think it comes across massively. And we often get involved. A few of us will go and we'll chat about things, and I still really do enjoy sharing nature with other people, with people that have never been to the bush before. I know I do miss guiding full time, sharing information, watching people's reactions. Like, I love hearing from everyone that, you know, if you're having a bad day, then these elephants have really made you laugh, or whatever it may be. It's still a big part of nature for me. I think let's pop over to founders. Yes, we did go over to founders. We had a brilliant visual of a warthog there the other day. And, look, as if on cue. The sun was hitting one of these warthogs beautifully the other day, and they sort of scrapes along the edge of that this pan here. Let's see if they might do it again. Yay! Synchronised splooting. They're both doing things at exactly the same time. That was a rarely seen synchronised warthog sploot. And we've got two blacksmith lapwings having a little bit of a shout there. And of course the beautiful rhino there in the background. And possibly not sure, there's an antelope back there as well of some description that I can't quite see. 4 different species, all in one eye line. But yeah, this is exactly what these warthogs did the other day along the edge. Having a blast. We've got 2 very small little piglets, whatever you want to call them, in the estate at the moment. They're tiny. They look like they're sort of the size of little rabbits. They're super cute. But both of these warthogs, they walked into the water and plonked themselves down at exactly the same moment then. Oh, having a good scratch as well. Francis, that's a really good question. Yes, your short version is yes. You're asking, is it expensive for reserves to maintain the collars on animals? I don't have figures for you, but if you think about the process in maybe adding a collar, let's say if you're going to collar a lion, first of all, you need to find it. Finding a lion is not always easy, depending on the type of reserve. You might have a better chance if it's, a smaller reserve with lots of vehicles, maybe trackers have got an idea of the territory of that lion. But if you're thinking a ginormous area, it has to be done from the air. So straight away, you're into the realms of helicopters or fixed wing conservation planes. I've got a very good friend who's now working in fixed wing conservation flying up there in Central Africa. So straight away you've got a plane or a helicopter involved. That is not a cheap project. Then you need vets that will be responsible for darting that animal. You also need a team that's going to be, if that animal's darted in a thick area, they need to get to it, so they will need a team to possibly cut their way to that animal with vehicles and a team. Then there's an actual physical collar. I've got no idea how much they would cost, but it's a fairly high-tech piece of equipment a lot of the time. So the whole project of just getting it on is already quite labour intensive. If batteries run out, if it breaks, if it needs to be adjusted, that whole process needs to happen again. data that comes from that collar also needs to be utilised, it needs to be downloaded, it needs to be monitored. So yes, it is not a cheap undertaking to keep collars on animals. Let's head across to the Masai Mara. Our warthogs have ceased to sploot and have made their way out, I would assume, for the day. Josh Drown, you love grey land tanks. That's a brilliant definition. I've never heard rhinos referred to as grey land tanks. I'm assuming you mean the rhino and not the prior warthogs, who are mini grey land tanks, maybe. David Bilston, UK. Hello, David. Good morning to you too. You've seen a clip on TV of a black rhino giving birth. Wow. Have I seen anything equal to that? No, I have not. That is insane footage. I've come very close to seeing births before. But never the actual moment. Animals often take themselves off to secluded or look at these elephants up there in the Masai Mara. Often take themselves off to secure or safer areas where they feel less vulnerable. It does happen though, people do. I know someone that's seen a giraffe birth, an elephant birth, black rhino birth. Wow, it is. It's kind of, I'm going to be completely honest now. As a guide, I can sometimes not get annoyed with TV programs, but they give. It's amazing to be able to see things, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of hours and a lot of manpower. And you will often see shows that, you know, in the space of an hour, you see takeovers and births and deaths and hunts and like really unique behaviours in the space of an hour. And then what I've found before is often people arrive on safari and say, we're going to see a kill. And I normally say, probably not. I've seen 3 kills, which isn't particularly high. I know a lot of people that have been guiding a similar amount of time as me that have seen more. But I've seen 3 kills, 2 leopard, 1 lion kill in all the years I've been doing this, and I have spent thousands of hours on game drive. So it is amazing that what show was it that was it Planet Earth? I can't remember. There was one animal program, but the last 10 minutes of it was all about the making of the show. I really enjoyed that. Sometimes, you know, these images of these snow leopards, you see a female snow leopard and 2 cubs, and then they interact with a male and stuff. And what they don't say is someone's been sitting in a tent for the last 18 months, not moving, trying to capture that footage, because it gives the impression that if you go looking for snow leopards, you're going to see all these things immediately, and you just don't. So yeah, it's amazing. Like I don't know if I've ever even seen. I was trying to think if I've ever seen black rhinos mating. I haven't seen black rhinos mating. I've seen quite a few black rhino, but in 12 years, normally operating where black rhinos occur, I've probably had maybe 50 black rhino sightings from it's got to be more than 10,000 hours of game drive. So to see a black rhino giving birth, that might give you a bit more of a sense, David, of how incredibly rare that footage would be. But it's the luck of the draw. That crew might have been following that black rhino for 5 years, or they might have been driving along and it happened to step out behind a bush and give birth. You never really know. Ooh, ostrich at Tau. I'm absolutely keen for some ostrich at Tau. Let's do that 100%. Wow, how do you say that? Machi Wangara. I apologise if I haven't pronounced that correctly. You're asking, do elephants form lifelong bonds? Yes, they absolutely do. Breeding herds of elephants consist of families, basically females, calves, males up to a certain age, sisters, aunties, cousins, and they do very much form bonds. They will interact with each other regularly. They communicate vocally, body language, touch. So yes, wild elephants, and probably even, I'm just digging around in my memory bank. I'm sure there's been cases of elephants in captivity that have recognised group members as well. I can't quote you on it, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. This is lovely to see ostrich at Tau. It's not a super common occurrence, but look at this female. But you can see what. Let's see if she's going to lift her head up. They normally peck, and then they lift their head up and then they swallow. And you see a big sort of gloop, 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 gloop going down their neck. Let's watch. I think we missed it. It wasn't side on. Ostriches will sometimes pick up stones, I believe, to help with grinding things for digestion. But that's a strange looking bird, isn't it? Those super long necks, those big powerful legs, and a lovely male here. These males much darker than the females. He's not super pink at the moment. There's a little bit of colouring on his legs. But these males, when they are not sexually mature, sexually in breeding season, basically, they develop very pink, certainly legs, and sometimes around their faces changes colour. Super powerful though, these birds. I don't think it's the same case anymore, but I think they used to be considered part of what we would classify as potentially dangerous game, because they can be potentially dangerous. I actually remember many years ago trying to, when we were learning to walk, when we were working on our Trails Guide qualification, we would sometimes see ostrich, and they're very sensitive to being approached. I'm waiting to see if his wall of stuff goes down his throat. Very good vision, and they're not particularly relaxed. We did not manage to get close in any way, shape or form to the ostriches that were fairly local to where we stayed. So these males, they are more often responsible for sitting on nests at night. Those dark colorations offer camouflage. Females during the day. I have seen ostrich chicks several times in Madikwe. They were doing quite well. Ostriches have a interesting breeding system, format, structure, whereas a male will sometimes have more than one female, and those females will lay eggs in the same nest. Fine looking male ostrich there, paying close attention to his surroundings, and look how behind his wings there you can see that super muscular thigh he's got there. Yeah, like what a design. Look at that neck. One of my, I wonder if he might be listening. Maybe he is listening. I think he sometimes listens to the show. One of my old bosses used to work in a reserve with ostrich, and they had one particular ostrich that often used to hang around the camp. And I believe this ostrich was called Brutus. And Brutus was not very friendly, apparently. My boss from many, many years ago told me that when they were interviewing new guides, they would not elicit a response, but if you sort of crossed an area, then Brutus would often let you know that he was displeased with your presence. And they used to go to this area with new guides and check their response to Brutus. To see if they believed that they may be good solid material for a good solid guiding team. Ostriches can be quite I wouldn't want a run-in with an ostrich, let's put it that way. Oh God, Mr. Elemental, what sort of question's that? I've got no idea. You are asking the mildly disturbing question of would an ostrich run around like a chicken if you chopped its head off? I don't know. I've never actually seen, I believe it is the case. I've got absolutely no idea, Mr. Elemental. I wouldn't want to know. And I've never thought about it, so not sure on that one. I feel bad though even thinking about that, looking at this fine feathered friend. Actually, you can't see if you can get a glimpse of his feet there as he walks. They've got very unusual tracks, ostrich. They've got sort of like, it's almost like two huge toes, one pointing forward and then one out to the side. Make for great running shoes. Spas, you are asking how come ostriches have evolved to have long necks? Environmental requirements, I guess. I'm not entirely sure what those environmental requirements would be because they don't need to stretch up high to reach things. But it's come from, interesting though, there is that very clear geographical speciation of you've got ostriches, you've got emus, you've got cassowaries. Slightly different, I think ostriches do probably take first prize on the long neck thing, but cassowaries, emus also big, solid, long-legged. Look, did you see that thing going down his neck there? That was a lovely image. The light was just hitting his throat beautifully there to let you see it. I'm not sure, because normally you would think height, long-neckedness would be to be tall, to be high up. Maybe it's more related to, maybe they used to feed differently. Maybe millennia ago their diet could have been different. But I guess it's you can pontificate on that. We don't really know. Normally it would be requirements, but maybe requirements have changed. Let's go across to Serengeti. I think we might have our water buck back. I'm sad we haven't been able to have a nice clear comparison. between those ellipsan waterbuck and those divisive waterbuck. I still think these are significantly more ginger than the other ones that we see much further south, especially at Tau. We see them quite often. Sorry, I just pressed something then and I couldn't move quickly to turn it off. I apologise. Oh, a lovely big male here. I feel like these waterbuck visiting this pan are becoming more relaxed. Maybe they were reacting to the camera, but now slowly they're getting used to the fact that it's, you know, maybe they felt vibrations from it or they heard a motor movement or something. But they seem to be hanging around here a lot more relaxed these days than I feel like I used to see them here, sort of they'd all be turning and running away. Erica, oh no, hello Erica. Thank you for joining us. Hello from a beautiful day in Cape Town. I'm glad you're getting some good weather there in Cape Town. I think did you say you had flooding in Cape Town? There was a lot of rain or something recently. I'm glad it's beautiful there today. And oh look, there's zebra coming in with the waterbuck. Still very... Actually, looking at these waterbuck, these are males. That's a male, that's a male, that's a male, that's a male. That one at the back is male. This looks like a female and youngster coming in. I'm just trying to think if I've ever seen... I've only ever seen divisive waterbuck in the flesh once when I was in Rwanda. And I'm just thinking now if I've ever seen bachelor groups of ellipsan waterbuck. It wouldn't surprise me. Let me check in my... Oh, I can't get there. Lovely. Let's go across to founders. We've got something there. One of the antelope species. But I'm just going to check in my behaviour Bible about group structure. Yeah, I think these are. I want to say springbok, but they look wrong. Are they young? See, we used to see springbok in Madikwe sometimes, but I never saw a group of young springbok. It almost looks like a group of youngsters. Huh. Don't normally see these here. What are they feeding on there on that soil? It looks like maybe they're feeding on some sort of new growth that's come through. I see how this one at the back almost looks like a little bit wobbly. Rich flight, that is a very, very valid point and would make complete and utter sense that I didn't even think of. See, this is why I need you guys out there. I fully support that statement, Rich Flight. You would think the long neck of an ostrich is because it has long legs. Complete and utter sense. And obviously the legs designed to be able to run, and they can really run, ostrich. I think saying like up to 70 kilometres or 60 kilometres. They're super, super fast. That has allowed them to escape predators. And yeah, they would need that long neck to get to the ground to feed. That makes complete and utter sense. Also, good vantage point to look for predators. Thank you very much, Rich, for your feedback. Hugely appreciated. Nubian, you're asking, is the ring on the bottom the only difference that they have to common waterbuck? It's geographical. I think they're slightly more chestnut. I think the colouring's slightly different. But honestly, one of the most sort of obvious things is location. But I want to have a look at these waterbuck in my behaviour book. I don't recall ever looking at a group of ellipse and waterbuck going, oh look, there's a bachelor group. But I could be wrong, because some of those males had very small horns. I would love to go and have a look at these waterbuck at Tau for a comparison. And let's see, I feel like these ellipse and waterbuck are a little bit more grey. Oh, that doesn't look very grey. That also looks quite chestnut. Lovely big male, and this is what I typically associate with male waterbuck. They will be a big male, and then other males sort of hanging around with the females. But I'm gonna I want to check here. Well, this says here, social mating system, sedentary and territorial, but unusual in that bachelor males, which share the limited patches of suitable habitat with females and young, are tolerated close to and even in female herds by some territorial males. As long as they grovel on command, a territory owner may permit even adult males to reside on his property. That's interesting. I love the phrasing in this book. If anyone's interested, it's quite an old book. It's the Richard Estes Safari Companion Guide to Watching African Mammals. I think this was published in 1999 now, so it's an older publication, but I love the use of language in here. Regular performance of an appeasement ceremony featuring the same submissive displays performed by females and young is the quid pro quo that enables up to 3 adult males to live as satellites. Okay, it does seem they do. Bachelor herds average 5 up to 40 males. Are exclusive and subject to a strict rank order, although herd composition also changes hourly as members come and go. Male calves may be forced to join a bachelor contingent at 8 to 9 months, soon after their horns appear, remaining there until mature at 6 years. Okay, so that possibly was a group of bachelor waterbuck. I've just never noticed it before, but maybe I haven't been looking. But this is a lovely big dominant male waterbuck. We see, I assume, this same guy here at Tau quite often, but interesting that according to Richard Estes, there may be more.
This is an unbelievable afternoon.
Would you like to know the difference between a male and a female wildebeest? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature.
Oh, she's gonna catch it.
Come on, Tommy. Watch this, we're about to see a kill. You can see how close he is from where I am.
We could come up with was traction when they're fighting, but I find I spend a lot of time asking why now. Why is that shape? Why is that behaviour happening? What is the benefit? And people often ask me questions and there's not always an answer. Is it true that X, Y, Z? And my often gut reaction is, what would be the benefit of that happening? Nature is very clever. Not all the time, but behaviour, there's normally a function, or often a function for a behaviour. I tell you a question that I have been asked that I would like to throw open to the room, and I came up with, a couple of us have come up with some loose ideas, but if we've got any real experts or big thinkers out there, the hard horny bit on the top of a helmeted guinea fowl's head, what are they for? I'm not going to tell you the best idea that we've come up with because I don't want to cloud anyone's judgment. But have a look, if you don't know what they look like, have a look at a picture of a helmeted guinea fowl. We have seen them on the cameras, especially at Aldonio. I think we've had guinea fowl. Have a look at a helmeted guinea fowl, and it's almost like a hard, bony part on the top of their heads. Males and females have them. They've got a fairly they're gregarious, so they hang around in flocks, they hang around in groups. Send in what you think that's for. I don't really know the answer. I've got one idea that seems to be potentially logical, but I would love to hear everyone else's thoughts on this. We have got some white-faced whistling ducks out there. They look like cattle egrets in their breeding plumage. So they've got sort of russet browns on them. These cattle egrets. So yes, please do send in your thoughts. What is the hard bit for on the top of guinea fowls' heads? WhatsApp, X, Facebook, Instagram, or at Wild Earth on YouTube. It's a genuine question. I've had one idea that a few people seem to share, but I'm not convinced. So I don't know the answer. This isn't a quiz. I genuinely want everyone's input. Everyone's quite calm and peaceful today. I remember the first time I saw these cattle egrets was actually in Madikwe, and I was still quite new to the industry, and they really do change appearance quite a lot in their breeding season. So western cattle egrets, and they're not in their breeding plumage, they're just white. They've got yellow beaks, all white feathers, dark legs, but in their breeding colours they get sort of lots of chestnut and sort of almost ginger, quite a lot on them. They change appearance significantly. Their legs almost start to change as well. We will leave this breeding coloration cattle egret here, having a little bit of a dip. And I think we're going to Tembo Plains. We've got some hippos up there. Let's see what our hippos are up to today. Our hippos look very relaxed. Check all the ridges and bumps and stuff on the back of this hippo that's closest to us. That's a life well lived, I think, that's caused those. Rich Flight, your thoughts on guinea fowl? Be a combination of thermoregulation and sexual selection. Yeah, I don't know the answer. One of the well, we actually came up with two. We've come up with two ideas. One is thermoregulation, and the other is sound amplification, possibly. But sexual selection, bigger in males, possibly. But yeah, it often confuses me when males and females of birds both have bright colours, because normally we say they've got bright colours, to attract mates. But many brightly coloured, beautiful birds have minimal sexual dimorphism, so the males and females do look quite similar, which sort of poo-poos that theory. Look at this. They've got like a raft. They've got a rest system. Look at this. This biggest one is seems to be the. They've got like a train, a hippo snooze train going here. Apart from the big one, you've got to sort yourself out. But these do all look like smaller animals, so youngsters getting an opportunity to rest on the grown up. Lean on me for some support. They should work something out like these. You see on social media, people all sort of in a circle sitting on each other's laps. They should sort something like that out, rather than everyone gets a chance to rest their head. this big one gets a fright or moves, there's going to be... Oops, fell off. Can it come back up? Wildlife lady, hello and welcome to the party. You are excused for your lateness. It's lovely to have you here. But yeah, there is another bigger one that just sort of slid off. It is a lovely scene with these hippos. But it looks like there is or is that same one? Oh no, there's the bigger one coming up from the back there. Oh, everyone's having a bit of a shuffle around. Oh. Everyone's readjusting. Oh no, disruption. That's it. It's all falling apart now. Nadia, you're asking if there are no structures in hippopods, how do they handle attacks? I'm assuming you mean attacks from predators. There's not that many things that will try a hippo, to be honest, Nadia. They are monsters. They are big. They are fast. They have big bitey teeth. Mum hippos will be super defensive of youngsters. So the small ones could be at risk. It's not unheard of. There have been records and video clips certainly of prides of lions trying hippos. I think it's worked on occasion, but it's also most definitely not worked on other occasions. I've seen clips of big hippos with like a lion on its back and a lion on its leg and one trying to grab its face, and it's just run back to the water. It's flicked these lions off like they were mosquitoes. So I'm assuming you mean predators. Mums will defend little ones from predators, and big ones just flick them off like flies, normally, Nadia. Let's go back across to Tau. I think we've got some wildebeest coming down to maybe have a drink. Ooh. We've got a little bit of a defensiveness creeping in with those youngsters. No, this is where I'm keeping my face today. Haven't seen many goings on with the Tau crocodiles recently. The last time I saw a Tau crocodile was when it chased away an elephant, which was exciting. That fairly typical, slightly nervous drinking pattern of many of these herbivores, always a little bit on the twitchy side. This water still looks quite low here. I'm sure with the rainy season coming, we're going to see this water level rise quite rapidly. In Madikwe in the spring, you see lots of... Oh, there's a lovely Goliath heron there. No, it's a black-headed heron, not a Goliath heron. My bad. In the spring in Tau, there's... look, there's a little ground squirrel there as well. Hello, little guy. Mind the wildebeest. When the wildebeest are born, There's often flowers popping as well. There was one road that you had to drive to get to the airstrip, and those young wildebeest were always very... Oh, look, there's springbok coming in. See, these look different to those other things we saw at Founders. I know these are springbok. Let's just see if they've got any youngsters with them. There was something that felt a bit odd about those springbok at Founders. Ever seen ground squirrels at Tower Waterhole before? I'm sure they've been there, but also springbok. I think when I left in 2016, so long time ago. Would occasionally get a visiting springbok, but not very often. But yeah, those young wildebeest, when they were born, they used to sit in a big field of flowers and shout, which was always very enjoyable. Springbok coming in, wildebeest are leaving. Hans, you're asking, are wildebeest in the bovine or antelope family? Antelopes sit under the Bovidae family, and wildebeest sit in the same tribe as hartebeest, surprisingly. Sorry, I missed that then, where we are going, but we are going somewhere. But lovely to look at this nice big waterbuck here. Nice to be able to compare those waterbucks. We've got some firefinches. So we had confirmation yesterday. I can't lean forward today and check this, but I had a very helpful confirmation that these are indeed red-billed firefinches up here at Lentoro. And I managed to identify the ripple starling here yesterday as well, which made me happy. Always nice to self-identify new birds. We've been seeing lots of baboons and monkeys up here at Lentoro recently, and we had I didn't know what that was. There's a mildly annoyed oh look, that's a nice image. That's something you don't see very often. See this, you just can't see this without these cameras. This squirrel would not hang around if there was a vehicle there. Oh, a little bit of grooming. little small mammals like this are often quite twitchy, quite nervous, rightly so. I think one of these was actually taken by a hawk eagle live on camera at some point a while ago. So yeah, I'm not surprised they're twitchy, but there's no way you could watch this without these cameras. So I think let's just enjoy this and take a moment and think how lucky we are to have them. I don't know if I've ever seen a squirrel drink. I'm looking at that mouth action to try and see if it's... I only learnt recently how dogs drink. Amazing. If you've never seen a dog drink in slow motion close up, have a look. Have a look online. They scoop, whereas cats have a different action, and that's what I was watching then, trying to work out. Trying to work out if it was a scoop or a sort of lap scenario. We had long discussions about different methods of drinking, the sucking or the lapping and things a while ago. It's very, very interesting. But I think that's the first time I've ever watched a squirrel drink. What an absolute joy. It's all peaceful on the Western Front today. We've had lots of shenanigans with baboons recently. Also, we had that little monkey who originally didn't look too well. Weren't sure where mum was. We had big monkey baboon wars the other day. We have got monkeys here as well. Mr. Elemental, you're asking, are the soles of hippos' feet adapted to climbing up slippery surfaces? I don't think they've got any like specific stickiness or hooks or anything like that, but they are quite wide, they're spongy, so they're going to be much more useful in wet conditions, either holding onto mum's back or possibly climbing up slopes than say one of the hoofed animals would be. But I don't think they've got like sticky Velcro hooks or anything like that. But they are big, they're wide, and they're squishy, so good for grip, good for pushing, or gripping is probably the wrong word, but good for being around wet things, maybe. Nice wide surface area and quite a lot of give in them. See, I've been expecting to see other monkeys here. Monkeys, baboons, they will often sort of position someone on observation duty, but normally, you know, in the same sort of general area as the rest of the family group. It wouldn't be much good leaving someone somewhere on their own if the others weren't around to be supervised. I do enjoy this camera. We see some lovely birds. And that lovely baboon interactions we've had here often. One of my favourite things to watch in the bush. Ideally from a distance, so these cameras are absolutely perfect for me. Just to sit quietly and observe, interpret, ponder the whys and wheres and hows. We had lots of red-billed 5 inches, red-billed quilliers. Oh, here we go. We were talking about the blues in that flat-headed rockagama recently, and I mentioned the extremely blue testicles of vervet monkeys. If he stands back up, we might get a nice view. Blue is often a sort of male testosterone type colour in nature. Lots of things go blue. Not always. Perfect demonstration being these vervet monkeys, or those blue-headed triagamas. Also go very, very blue in the breeding season. It's all very peaceful here today, though. But no, I think that's the first time I've ever watched a squirrel drink. Oh, we've got a lovely grey heron up there. Great work, Zoomies. Thank you. I'm just... Oops. Sorry, I just knocked the microphone. I can't move properly because of my back. Let me just get my bird book. I'm 90% sure this is a grey heron, but I want to check because we're up at Lentoro, so I don't think there's any other species of heron up there. But let's look. I've got various levels of bird book right the way through from, well, I actually gave it to a friend of mine who visited recently, a little pocket guide to Kruger books with sort of 50 birds in, all the way up to this monster that I've got in my hand now, 46. Doesn't...
Oh, wow. Even our hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word. She's stalking the hyena now. leopard, hyena, lion all together in one shot. Oh. Woo! This is action-packed. My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. The best driver at Wild Earth, it is me. I believe I'm the best driver. I think so because I've. Best part of my job, I say, is just to try and look out for these animals, track them down. I love tracking animals. I love looking for, fresh tracks, and if you can find them, it's just at the moment of accomplishment. If I wasn't a presenter for Wild Earth, I would be the drummer for AC/DC.
Ah, the bush, full of beauty, wonder, and absolute chaos. And now, all that madness has its own show. It's called a Wild Bush Week. The countdown of the most outrageous, heart-stopping, and sometimes downright ridiculous wildlife moments of the week. Lions throwing their weight around. Hyenas gate-crashing the buffet. Leopards doing, well, leopardy things. Each week, it's a fresh reel of safari gold. A mix of drama,
She's just got an impala, everybody.
danger, and a healthy dose of laughter. So, if you fancy a highlight show with bite, and I don't mean just the animals, tune in to a Wild Bush Week. You bring the tea, and we'll bring the tusks, tails, and teeth.
Wow, I actually answered a question properly. Different species of birds, the height at which birds fly actually sometimes helps us with identification. There are some birds that are known to sort of fly quite low. They'll sit at different levels in branches. They're known to frequent lower branches of trees. I'm just trying to think. Someone was telling me, I can't remember what the species was, but it was an exciting species, and they told me that in a particular area, if you scanned more the lower branches of trees rather than higher branches, you were more likely to pick them out. Oh, that's a lovely image there. Look at the reflections on that pool. Wowzers. That's a stunning screenshot there. Vultures, very well known to fly very, very high, Oliver, up on those thermals. A lot of the smaller things like let's quickly pop over to Serengeti. I think our Mr. Spider-Man lizard is there, but that's a stunning image there at Menno. Things like striated herons or green-backed herons. Hello, boy. I haven't chosen the most aesthetically beautiful location to sit, but I'm sure you've got your reasons and you certainly make up for it. Something like a greenbacked or striated heron, Oliver, my gut sees them flying quite long and low. I don't recall ever seeing sort of a striated heron above sort of tree height. I'm not saying they don't fly above tree height, but sort of common behaviours makes them quite low. A lot of the eagles, the crowned eagles in courtship, they fly very, very high. I'm just trying to think who else. So no, they don't, Oliver. They all fly at different heights. See, isn't nature amazing? Look at this. Absolutely stunning colours on this Moanza flat-headed rocogama. And I didn't even look that up that time. I've almost learned. I'm sure he's using this as a maybe a display point I'm just trying to think why else it would be sitting up here. It's normally for display purposes to females. It's a little bit risky sitting up in open areas like this. It could be that maybe there's some insects or ants' nests or something around these man-made structures. So he could be up here snacking as well. But normally when animals are sort of elevated, they're purposely trying to be seen, normally by females. But it's a risk and reward method you need to work out, because all the time you're sitting up there in the open, you are putting yourself at risk of predation. Hello Penelope Kenyon, thank you for joining us. You're saying school's out so you can relax for half an hour with your favourite show. You got here just in time for our Mwanza flat-headed rock agama, doing some push-ups by the looks of it, and that's classic display, demonstrating his prowess, his bravery. Looks like he pied wagtail just hopped down there. Gorgeous. Shame he's sitting on some metal, but he's almost iridescent there, those colours. Leave this boy proudly proclaiming his presence on this unusual territorial post. There are some zebras across at Tau, so let's scoot across to Tau and catch up with our zebras. Maybe they're coming down for an afternoon drink. They indeed are. There's been a procession of animals coming and going from Tau today, isn't there? Looks like a couple of these have been in some mud. This was indeed where we pulled a baby zebra out of the mud that was stuck in here many years ago now. Although maybe it survived. Maybe this zebra is one of them. Maybe I could go back and find a photo and see if I could work it out. Wow, that would be a mission. Oh, look at all these ducks having an argument. What's upset the ducks? It looks like one of these... What's going on with these ducks? It looks like one of the ducks is in trouble. It looks like some of these ducks are being driven away. Sorry, I'm completely not paying attention to the zebras at all. That was weird from those ducks. It looked like one of them was being intentionally driven away by the others, maybe? But they would normally form breeding pairs. See, let's see if the others follow back and chase this other one. Okay, courtship displays have been observed in white-faced whistling ducks before dispersal of non-breeding flocks. So maybe there is some element of breeding interaction happening here. Look, they've all got out again. Ooh, there's also some zebra fights going on in the background here as well. Well, it's all kicking off its owl. Duck fights, zebra fights. Oh, it looks like everyone's calmed down now. Let's go across to elephant pan. But that was really interesting behaviour from those white-faced whistling ducks then. It looked like one was being ousted. I'm just reading to see if that was often observed. It felt like they were ganging up on each other. Okay, this says sometimes families of white-faced group threat displays, usually involving 2 family groups and usually occurring more after breeding season. Huh. So it could have been then that there were 2 families having a discussion. Who knows? But there are some elephants having a wonderful swim here at Elephant Pan, which is lovely to see. India, you're asking, is there a use for a zebra's mane? I'm thinking. Who's been my Rich Flight? You did great work earlier with pointing out the fact that that I completely missed that ostriches need long necks because they've got long legs. Any insight into the use of a zebra's mane? It's not really used. Things are often. See, now I'm also thinking like horses. I know horses very well. What is the use? The use of a zebra? I wonder if it wouldn't have something to do with. Well, it's not really long enough to facilitate like flicking it to get rid of flies. I wonder if it could have anything to do with display function. Not really. Hop in, everyone. Can you think of a use of a zebra's mane? There's probably something staring me straight in the face that I am not thinking of. So yeah, please share your thoughts. We've got about 20 minutes left of the show, and if we could get a few thoughts on the use of a zebra's mane before that, it would be hugely appreciated. Helga, you are happy to see there's more water in Elephant Pan. It's lovely, hey, it's really greening up here as well. This was looking very bleak. I know where you're coming from, Helga, but it's looking green and delightful now. So let us know what you think is the use of a zebra's mane. And yes, it is lovely to see there's water in here. It's green, it looks lush. It was looking quite desolate here not too long ago. David Bilston, you are asking, do I think giraffes could swim in deep water? We had a long discussion about animals that could and couldn't swim a while ago, and I did quite a lot of reading around it, and giraffe were technically listed as one of the animals that can't swim. I'm like, that technically no, they can't, according to lots of the reading I did. But if they kick their legs really hard, could they possibly? Maybe. But technically they're listed as non-swimmers. But their body structure wouldn't really lend itself Their legs are very long and skinny, which don't tend to make great paddles. It would almost be like, this is going to give you a really funny image. I'm just trying to think of something else with long, thin legs. I don't think it would be very successful, David. I'm picturing it in my head, and those very heavy. They're big animals with those long, skinny legs. See, even elephants, looking at these elephants now, they've got sort of more rotund legs. Better water resistance. Those giraffe legs would just cut through water like a knife, I would have thought. Penelope Kenyon, yes, you are completely correct. Zebra manes do show if the animal is healthy or sick, because it reflects how well nutritional. It's not quite fat storage, but if they're nice and round and healthy, those manes stand up nice and straight, and they also look nice and round and healthy. But that's not really the reason for having them. I'm trying to get to the core developmental evolutionary root of why they would have something sticking up along their neck. And why is it there? The closest I can probably come to thinking is something to do with like flicking flies, and I'm just trying to think when they fight. But male zebras, when they fight, would normally like grab legs with teeth or kick, not necessarily a neck thing. I'm still thinking, and I'm still waiting for advice from, there we go. There we go. Thank you, VC Loves Wildlife. You're also pondering with me. Thank you for pondering with me. Maybe a bigger, thicker zebra mane helps with flies, attracting females, helps with other males' bites on the back of the neck. These are the sort of reasons I was thinking, but then when females have them, then I was thinking about mounting. But then stallions have got them as well. Flies, would it, maybe that extra movement in fur, if they jiggle it, it's better having something moving around to flick flies away than not. That's the closest I think I can come up with. Something to do with flies. And I'm also thinking about domestic horses. They have flowing manes, or sort of longer manes. I wonder why their manes continue to grow but zebras stop. I know humans hog horses' manes to make them look like zebras, but that's a maintenance thing. Maybe zebras' manes evolved to stay short so they didn't get stuck in things in the wild. I honestly don't know. I'm hypothesizing wildly. So it's nice to have everyone else's thoughts. Brandy, you're asking what is the best season for elephants to have calves? Elephants don't really have a calving season like lots of the other animals. The best season would be in times of plenty, but elephants are pregnant for 22 months, so the timing would have to be quite accurate to get all the way around a whole nearly 2 years to get back to the time of plenty. The best time for them would be when there's lots of water and lots of food around, but we do see elephant calves being born any time of year. Charlene Van Weingard, you said you can watch elephants the whole day long. They are fabulous to watch. and I really do enjoy watching them from a distance without disturbing them, just watching them go about their business. Some of the best, my favourite places to watch elephants from are from decks of lodges or from elevated positions if you're looking down over a river where they're coming to drink. But I also do enjoy the way they're elephants are maybe not as quiet as baboons, but elephants also spend a lot of time doing. They will sometimes just snooze. I know those big old bulls at Old Donyo will sometimes just stand around that pan doing not much, but elephants are also often fairly active. I can hear a class's cuckoo calling outside. Oh, lovely. We've got a Dussie across at Stony Point. I know we had a little couple of baby Dussies there the other day. Let's see who we've got. What are baby Dussies called? See, I wish I would cheat while I was doing this, but I refuse to. See, that old adage of foot and teeth structure loosely linked to elephants. I don't think you could call it a Dussie calf. A Dussie cub, a Dussie pup. Probably pup is the closest. I don't know what you would call a baby Dussie or what a baby Dussie is called. It's like what do you call a baby guinea pig? I know they're not guinea pigs, but they're probably closest. Well, whatever you call a baby Dussie, this one is currently unconcerned by that and is having a nice snooze, just keeping a little bit of sun on their forehead there. It is indeed, it looks like a lovely day there at Stony Point in Cape Town today, or down around that area. Amazing camouflage these Dussies have. We did a boat trip not too long ago. We had some friends visiting, and we went out onto the Blythe Dam, and there were some Dussies in the rocks, and very, very difficult to spot. Incredible camouflage, but they need to. Lots of predators will feast on a Dussie, so they need to have that camouflage in place so they don't constantly get picked off those rocks and snacked on while they're bouncing around on those rock faces. Jala, you're asking, how small is a baby Dussie at birth? Ooh, I don't even know what they're called. I'm not going to know how much they weigh when they're born. Ooh. Couple of 100 grams, few 100 grams maybe. Quite small, but they do grow quite quickly. Like many of these smaller mammals, they do need to grow quite quick. But no, I wouldn't have thought any more than maybe 300 grams. Certainly not half a kilogram. I wouldn't have thought. But no, we had some lovely views of some little ones the other day. Again, something that it just wouldn't be possible without these cameras, because youngsters or mums, nursing mums of anything, always tend to be a bit more protective, a bit more nervous, and they will disappear to keep their little ones safe and sound. Even this sleeping Dussie here, see just slight movement in those ears. Ear on the, there we go, that ear on the left there. Always looking, always listening. We often talk about animals' sleep patterns and how animals snooze or nap. And while young animals sometimes do, wild animals, they just don't have that ability or requirement for those solid 8 hours a night like humans do. Let's go across to Simbavati. I think we've got some terrapins active over there. But no, my theory, my very personal, very own theory, don't quote me on it, is not many, but baby animals when they're growing, yes. But I think humans are probably the only things that really need that shut down solid, well, I would like 9 or 10 hours sleep a night if I could. I know lots of people survive on much less. But I think it's our brains that need to sleep more than our bodies, because we fill them up with stuff and stimulation and stresses and thoughts and considerations and hard ponderings around exactly what a zebra's mane is for. And at night time our circadian rhythms go, stop, enough of these brain things for the day, otherwise you will pop. That's my theory anyway. See these terrapins, I'm pretty sure they're just chilling there, resting. Do they need their eyes closed and their heads down? I think this is, well, they have to be alert. I also think a lot of emergency response in animals is instinctive. It's an activation of that sympathetic nervous system. Those fast reactions, those flight or fight responses, they're not conscious. They're not thought through. They just happen because they have to be so instantaneous to keep animals alive. That's how nature has developed those responses.
Hello, I'm James Hendry, and I'd like to take you on a very different kind of safari through the wild heart of Madagascar. In Undersea, we'll track the Indri's eerie call through misty rainforest. Then it's east on to Masuala, where lemurs leap through the jungle, coral reefs glow beneath the waves, and adventure waits around every bend. Come, let's explore it together.
The wild Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
I get to wake up every morning and go out there and look for cats. I get to create my everyday safari for myself. I grew up in the sort of central eastern suburbs of Johannesburg, fully qualified trails guide and a fully qualified nature conservationist. I love the wild places. I love being in the wilderness. It's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had and probably ever could have.
Morning everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Wow, that was amazing everybody.
Always great to have input from everyone else. I think we should stay here for the last couple of minutes of show. I'd like to see this. It looks like this terrapin wants to get back up. I think this terrapin maybe wants to come back out on this log. That could be quite entertaining to watch. But thank you all for being here. And yeah, like I say, tolerating my musings. I am in no way, shape or form claiming to know everything. And as I always say, what a sad day it would be if we did. It's my favourite thing about nature is the learning, is the observing, is the pondering, is the reasoning. And I like hearing everyone else's thoughts and input. I've spent many hours musing the reasonings for things in nature with many people, and it's an absolute pleasure to be able to do that with everyone out there on the show as well. Okay, that terrapin is not going to remount this log. I would have thought that would have been quite entertaining to watch. Maybe they will be back, but in the meantime, keep your eyes on these cameras. You just never know what's around the corner. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to go and nurse my back. I will be back later on next month, but in the meantime, everyone keep your eyes on the cameras. Stay curious. Stay engaged, and thank you all for being here. I will see you all again soon. Take care and look after yourselves. Bye bye.